Hello and welcome to the 30k channel. We are your hosts, David
and James,
and we are here for our third game of our Iron Warriors and Iron Hands grudge match.
Yep, I'm excited about this. It's amazing how this little mini narrative campaign has developed.
Oh man, we've gone for 4k today as well. So if we remind ourselves, we started off with was it a 2.5 or 3k tank battle?
I think it was 3.5 tank battle.
3.5 tank. Then we went to Zone Mortalis. I think that was 2.
Yeah, something like that.
I should have done my research before we've done this. So it's about 2, and now we're on to a big 4k game. If we look back at the scores as well, the Iron Warriors won the first game. It was a draw in the second game in Zone Mortalis. So depending how you want to look at it, it's 1-0 to the Iron Warriors, I guess. So this could be our last deciding game, or if the Iron Hands win it today, then there's another game to decide.
That's it, we'll have to settle it, that's it, because the battles have been so close so far. Even the first game, there was only 1 victory point in it for a game that size. So, yeah, this is a real grudge match, as you say.
Yeah, and James has pulled it out of the bag today with the lists. He's built both armies. I'm not very good at Space Marines, as you all know, but I'm pretty good at Mechanicum. But James is the man when it comes to building Legion lists, and you've not disappointed.
No, I hope this is going to be a brutal game. Both armies have a bucket load of firepower. They've got some real close assault punch, lots of mobility, some interesting rights of war. I'm looking forward to seeing the head of the Gorgon.
Yeah, well, it's first for me for playing the Iron Hands at such a high points level with the head of Gorgon. So we've got a few outflanking tanks, as James has kind of designed a list around to do so. You know, we've got the 3, I think, Predator Infernus.
They've got the Magnum Melters on, so they have a lot of damage causing potential, especially outflanking. Yeah,
you know, they've got that Magnum Melter on top, and you've got 2 las cannons on the side as well, so 6 las cannons and those melter shots. You know, and then we've got the Venator, of course, classic Spartan. Everyone loves a Spartan.
That's it. And all the artillery. And looking forward to seeing a missile launcher support squad as well with some flak missiles.
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to the Gorgons as well getting stuck in.
Yep.
Maybe with their power axes, we'll see. But, you know, James, you've got 2 levies of Dorado.
Yeah, I thought I'd go Dreadnought heavy because, as I said in the showcase a while back, I don't use Dreadnoughts much with the Iron Warriors, so I thought I'd let them stomp out today. And, of course, the Iron Havocs, the Tyrant Siege Terminators. So, yeah, got a lot of firepower here. So, it should be anybody's game.
10-man las cannon team on the end there as well, I saw.
Yeah, that's it. The Iron Havocs. Gotta love them. Gotta love them.
And also as well, both armies have a huge amount of troops in, haven't they?
Yeah, that's it. Well, with the Hammer of Olympia, which the Iron Warriors are using today, you've got to take that 3rd troops choice. So plenty of tactical Marines. And, yeah, the Iron Hands have got 2 big tactical squads. With Apothecaries, looking forward to seeing how resilient they are. I suspect very. Yeah,
we'll see. You know, against shooting attacks, Iron Hands are toughness 5, so that will help. But we'll see how it goes. The mission we've got today is we've got a Blood Feud, and we've both chosen troops as our Blood Feud target, and we've got Shatter Strike as well. And the board we're playing on today, you've probably seen this a couple of times now on the channel. This is the last time this board will be used. We thought we'd use it for this one because it's got some huge line of sight blocking terrain. There's no way are we going to get a line of sight with all of those ranged weapons across the table from each other.
Yeah.
So we've got to work really, really hard to manoeuvre around those big rocks, around that landing pad, and the kind of outlying buildings to get at each other. So I think we've got to work hard for our money. I think the Flyers will be quite pivotal as well.
That's it, yeah. We've got 2 very mobile armies with the Flyers and with outflank. So, yeah, I'm expecting absolute carnage today. These armies should be able to really damage each other early on as well.
Yeah, we shall see. We're going to get into these lists, look at what has been taken in exact detail, and then we will get to the beginning of turn 1. 4,000 points of Iron Hands, led by Ortec Moore. The army is running the Head of the Gorgon, Rite of War, and the army's warlord trait is Murderous Arsenal. Leading the army is Ortec Moore. He's equipped in Calefacti Terminator armor, Paragon Blade, Servo Arm, Cortex Controller, and a Volkite Charger. Next to him is a Legion Centurion, a Forge Lord, also in Calefacti Terminator armor. He's equipped with a Power Axe, Servo Arm, Cyber Familiar, and Rad Grenades. The third HQ is a Pravian Consul. He's equipped with Artificer Armor, Thunderhammer, Volkite Charger, Refractor Field, and a cyber familiar. He is also accompanied by 5 Vorax-class battle automata with biocorrosive ammunition and 5 enhanced targeting arrays. The first elite's choice is a Gorgon Terminator squad, 10 man. There are 4 power fists, 3 chain fists, 2 parax, and the hammer bearer has a thunder hammer. Their dedicated transport is a Legion Spartan assault tank, equipped with a flare shield, armoured ceramite, and a dozer blade. Second elite's choice are 2 apothecaries. They will be joining the 2 large tactical marine units. Elite's choice 3 and 4 are 2 rapier weapons batteries. 3 have the laser destroyer array, and the other 3 have quad launchers equipped with shatter shells. Troops choice 1 and 2 are 2 squads of 18 tactical marines. The sergeant in 1 is equipped with a combi melter, a power fist, and melter bombs, and the second sergeant of the second squad is equipped with melter bombs. Due to head of the Gorgon, the Iron Hands can only take 1 fast attack choice. This has been filled by a Legion Storm Eagle gunship equipped with 2 twin-link las cannons and a missile launcher. The first of 3 heavy supports choice is taken up by a Legion Predator Strike Squadron. All 3 are armed with Magna melters, 3 las cannon sponsons, dozer blades, and machine spirits. The second heavy support choice is a Sikaran Venator tank destroyer equipped with a neutron beam laser and a pintle-mounted heavy bolter. The final heavy support slot is filled by a Legion heavy support squad. 5 are equipped with missile launchers with flak missiles, and the sergeant is equipped with a Nuncio Vox and an augury scanner. They will most likely be deploying behind this Aegis defense line equipped with a comms relay.
3,999 points of Iron Warriors using the Hammer of Olympia Rite of War. They are led by a Warsmith whose warlord trait is Shatter Defences. The Iron Warriors are led by a Legion Praetor who's upgraded to a Warsmith. He has a mastercrafted power fist, a servo arm, digital lasers, an iron halo and melter bombs. He's accompanied by a Legion Centurion who's upgraded to a Master of Signal console. He's armed with a power axe, and the third and final HQ choice is a Damocles Command Rhino. The first elite choice for the Iron Warriors is a Legion Cataphracti Terminator squad, 9 strong. They have 5 power fists, 2 chain fists, 2 combi melters, 1 pair of lightning claws, and 1 heavy flamer, and the sergeant also has a pair of lightning claws and a grenade harness. The second elite choice for the Iron Warriors is a Legion Rapier weapons battery with 2 quad launchers. Both have shatter shells. The Iron Warriors have 3 compulsory troops choices, all 3 of which are Legion tactical squads. They're all 10 strong and they all have Vexillas. The first sergeant has a combi plasma, a power fist and melter bombs. The second sergeant has a combi melter, a lightning claw and melter bombs. And the third sergeant has a combi plasma and melter bombs. The first fast attack choice for the Iron Warriors is a Legion Seeker squad, 5 strong. 4 of the Seekers have combi plasmas. The sergeant also has a combi plasma, and he has a power fist and melter bombs. They have a dedicated transport, which is a Legion Land Raider Proteus, which has armoured ceramite, a dozer blade, and an explorator augury web. The second fast attack choice is a Xiphon pattern interceptor. It has 2 twin-link las cannon, a rotary missile launcher, and ground tracking auguries. The third fast attack choice for the Iron Warriors is a Legion Storm Eagle assault gunship with 2 twin-link las cannon and a missile launcher. Thanks to the Hammer of Olympia Rite of War, the Iron Warriors have 4 heavy support choices, the first of which is a Tyrant Siege Terminator squad, 5 strong. 3 of the Tyrants have chain fists, 1 has a power fist. The Siege Master also has a power fist and an omniscope. Of course, they all have their Cyclone missile launchers and combi bolters. The second heavy support choice is a Leviathan pattern Siege Dreadnought Talon. The first Leviathan has a siege drill to go with its siege claw, armoured ceramite, phosphex discharger, 2 melter guns and 2 heavy flamers. The second Leviathan has a Grav Flux Bombard, Leviathan Storm Cannon, 2 Volkite calivers, armoured ceramite and a phosphex discharger. The third heavy support choice is a Derideo pattern Dreadnought with its Anvilus autocannons, twin heavy bolters and an Aeolus missile launcher. The fourth and final heavy support choice is an Iron Havoc support squad, 10 strong. All of them, including the sergeant, are carrying las cannon.
James, Iron Hands, Iron Warriors.
Yep.
Potentially the last game of our mini-series.
Grudge match.
Oh, man. Now, there's not a lot of the Iron Warriors on the table, nor of the Iron Hands. We've both got stuff in reserve.
Yep.
Head of the Gorgon, there's going to be a few tanks outflanking. So the Vorax are down, the TAC units. There's a lot of firepower we've deployed to try and get rid of some units early on.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it will all be about the counter-strike from both armies with those flyers and all the outflanking manoeuvres. Your front line looks very formidable with the firepower.
Hopefully I've put some durable units down, some units with some good long-range firepower.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll hold until my reserves come in.
Oof. Now, James won the roll-off and decided... I won the roll-off, rather, and I made James deploy first just to see where he was going. I am hopeful for a seize, so we'll see how that goes. But good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
All right. I know you can't see this, but I'll call it out. Oh, damn, it's a 4. So we are into Iron Warriors turn 1.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 1, and the Iron Havocs have held position on top of this bunker next to the crane behind them. The Seekers in their Proteus have also held position. In the centre, the 2 Leviathan pattern siege dreadnoughts have stomped forwards. Their sensors must be picking up the Vorax behind these crates. And over on the Iron Warriors' left flank, everything has held position once again. The Iron Warriors are preparing to unleash as much firepower as they can. They need to thin out the Iron Hands before either side's reserves start arriving. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 1, and the Iron Havocs have already lived up to their dread reputation, getting 10 hits on this Iron Hands tactical squad and cutting down 9 of them. The 2 Iron Warriors Leviathans have both run. The one with the 2 close combat weapons only ran forward a single inch. The one with the Gravflux Bombard and the Storm Cannon actually decided to move back 5 inches, wary of the Vorax. Then the other dreadnought of the Iron Warriors opened fire, the Deredeo, managing to take out 1 Iron Hand support marine with its autocannon battery and another one with its heavy bolters, but unfortunately its missile launcher did nothing. The Iron Warriors Rapiers opened fire on the Iron Hand support marines. They managed to get 7 hits and 6 wounds, but only a single Iron Hand fell. It looks like it's going to fall to the Tyrant Siege Terminators to try and finish off that squad. The Siege Tyrants then opened fire at the same Iron Hand support squad with a volley of crack missiles. They managed to get 8 hits and 7 wounds. That cut down another 2 of the Iron Hands, but disappointingly for the Iron Warriors, there is 1 Iron Hand with a missile launcher still standing. The Iron Warriors then called in their long-range artillery support. The Damocles Command Rhino tried to target the Vorax behind the crates with a barrage, but it scattered 11 inches right off of the battlefield. But the Master of Signal did better. Although he only got 1 barrage marker, he managed to do 5 wounds on the Vorax, killing 1 and putting 2 wounds on another. Not too bad a result. The Iron Hands that took casualties, the tactical squad and the lone marine with the missile launcher, both passed their morale checks. The Iron Hands are still standing strong. That brings Iron Warriors turn 1 to a close. Not too bad, inflicted some damage, but it would have been nice to inflict a bit more, as always.
Iron Hands movement phase turn 1. Iron Hands took a little bit of battering in the previous turn, losing a ton of tactical marines, but they're okay. They passed their leadership test. In the movement phase, the Vorax didn't quite move enough. I rolled a 5, even with their move through cover, and we wanted to get into range to put some firepower down on that las cannon team, but we were an inch or so out, so that was a little unfortunate. So they've had to just skulk behind the containers there. The Rapier laser batteries have lined up their laser destructors onto the Leviathan. We're hopefully going to take one of those out this turn. The Spartan has moved a full 12 inches, so its plan is to shoot into the Terminators, and then that's it. There is no other movement. Everything else has stayed stationary. We're just trying to soften up the Iron Warriors in a bid to bring on those reserves and get some tanks in the side armour of some of the Iron Warriors tanks. So let's hope for a productive shooting phase. Iron Hands shooting phase turn 1. And it started with a bang. The 3 quad Rapier laser destroyers opened up into the Leviathan with 2 close combat weapons, 3 hits, 2 pens and a glance. One of the pens was saved. One of the glances went through, causing the whole point. but the final penetrating hit rolled a 6 for damage and exploded that Leviathan. That has taken some significant pressure off the Iron Hands. Next to fire was the Iron Hands Spartan. It did move 12 inches on the movement phase, so one of those quad las cannons was snap shooting, but still got a hit onto the Siege Tyrant Terminators. The other las cannon fired and scored 2 hits, but James made some amazing invulnerable saves and no wounds were caused on those Siege Tyrants. The Heavy Bolter did also have a go, got 1 hit, but failed to wound. The Iron Hands Quad Mortars fired their shatter shells at the Iron Warriors Dorado. Only 2 could see its target. There was 6 hits, which resulted in 2 pens and a glance, but James made all of his invulnerable saves yet again. The Iron Hands are having a tough time trying to get through these Iron Warriors units. That's all the Iron Hands have got. We're desperately waiting for our reserves to come through. We're now on to the Iron Warriors' next turn.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 2, and thanks to some cunning use of the Explorator Augury web on the Proteus, the Iron Warriors tried to bring on their flyers and keep off their tactical marines. They were successful in bringing on their flyers, but one tactical squad has also arrived on this flank. They are sighting down their bolt guns at the lone surviving Iron Hand with a missile launcher. Meanwhile, the Xiphon and the Storm Eagle that have arrived, they're preparing for a strafing run on the Iron Hand's defensive position on this flank. The Tyrant Siege Terminators have stomped forward to add their fire. The Rapiers, Derideo and the Damocles have all held position. Meanwhile, the other Leviathan does not really know what to do. Seeing the demise of its brother, it has decided to pull back to try somehow to get out of line of sight of the deadly Iron Hands Rapiers. The Iron Havocs have held position once again, and over on the far right, the Proteus has rumbled forward and the Seekers have deployed. Iron Warrior shooting phase turn 2, and the Leviathan only managed to run 2 inches. Unfortunately, that did not get him out of line of sight of the Rapiers, but the Iron Havocs came to his rescue, at least in part, at least the 4 of them that could see. They managed to get 2 wounding hits on the Rapiers, and unfortunately, the carriage was the nearest. 1 gun has gone down. The newly arrived Iron Warriors tactical squad opened fire with their bolters at the last surviving Iron Hand with a missile launcher. They managed 6 hits and 3 wounds, but he made all of his saves. And he was lucky once again as the Derideo tried to take him out with a split fire shot from its Aeolus missile launcher. He was wounded twice, but made both of his cover saves. He's leading a charmed life. The Derideo then opened fire with its Anvilus autocannons at the Iron Hand's quad launchers, managing to inflict a single wound on one of the carriages. The Tyrant Siege Terminators then opened fire, benefiting from the Cognis Signum carried by the Master Signal. The Sergeant used his Omniscope to split fire. He managed to get a wounding hit on the last Iron Hand with the missile launcher, but once again his save was made. The rest of the Tyrants then opened fire with their Cyclones on the quad launcher battery, managing to finish off the first gun and crew. The Iron Hand with the missile launcher has finally fallen to a strafing run from the Xiphon Interceptor. Seems like a bit of a waste of its firepower, but infantry are the blood feud target for the Iron Warriors, so that is actually worth 2 points. Nevertheless, he made 2 cover saves from the twin-link las cannon. It was finally the Xiphon rotary missile launcher that finally took him out. The Iron Warriors Rapiers opened fire on their opposite numbers in the Iron Hands. They only managed to inflict a single unsaved wound, thanks to the Iron Hand's extraordinary toughness. And then the strafing Storm Eagle encountered exactly the same problem. Its missile launcher failed to wound. The one twin-link las cannon that hit also failed to wound. And although its multiple missile launcher managed 12 hits and 2 wounds, the Iron Hands made their save. That is a good result from the Iron Hands. Despite taking relatively light damage from the overwhelming firepower of the Iron Warriors gun line and their aircraft, the Iron Hands crewing the quad launchers still failed their morale check. They have retreated. That's good news for the Iron Warriors, since they have abandoned their quad launchers. That has reduced the amount of firepower that the Iron Hands can muster on this flank. And that is a relatively satisfactory turn for the Iron Warriors. Let's see how the Iron Hands respond.
Iron Hands movement phase turn 2. A bit of light relief, which was good. All of the Iron Hands reserve have come in. So the Storm Eagle has come in, eyeing up the Iron Warriors Storm Eagle. The Strike Squadron has come up on the right-hand side. I would have liked them to have gone on the other side, but there you go. The Venator also turned up on the same side, so we're a little bit crowded now on this side of the board and a little bit out of the action, which is a shame. The Rapier crew rallied, which was brilliant news. The Spartan immobilised itself on its own fortification despite having a dozer blade, rolling a double one, which was unbelievable. The Terminators have decided to stay inside of their transport. They will try and take out that Storm Eagle and try and kill some of those Terminators if they can. The Rapier crew, the Rapiers on the left-hand side here have moved forward. They will snap shoot, but they are twin-linked. And finally, the Vorax have made a decent roll of a 6 with their move through cover and will target that las cannon squad. Need to kill 2 or 3, and that would help the Iron Hands out with the firepower coming back at them. On the whole, it's looking a little bit tricky on this side of the board, but let's hope we can take that Storm Eagle out and kill some Terminators. Iron Hands shooting phase turn 2, and with an opening salvo from the twin-linked las cannons from the Storm Eagle into the Iron Warriors Storm Eagle, got 2 hits. One was jinked, one went through, and on the damage result, a 6 was rolled, +1 for the AP2, and that detonated the Iron Warriors Storm Eagle whilst in the air and crash landed just in front of the immobilised Iron Hand Spartan. 5 cataphractic Terminators were destroyed in the explosion, but the Warsmith survived unscathed. That was an amazing opening shot for the Iron Hands. We now have some reasonable firepower to try and deal with that squad if we can. The next round of shooting was just as good as the Storm Eagle, firing into the Iron Warrior Storm Eagle. The Predator Strike Squadron targeted their Magna Melters at the Warsmith and his remaining cataphracti and managed to wipe that entire squad out. That does confer 5 victory points to the Iron Hands for wiping that squad out, for various points with Blood Feud and for killing the Warsmith. What an amazing result. The Predators then used Power of the Machine Spirit to fire their las cannon sponsons at the tactical units in front. Only got 3 hits, but killed 3 of the Iron Warriors. What an amazing round of shooting. The Iron Hands Spartan targeted the Siege Tyrant Terminators with its quad las cannons, scoring 4 hits and 4 wounds, and that was enough to kill 3 of the Siege Tyrants. What a great round of shooting. The carnage continues. The Iron Hands Venator targeted the Iron Warriors Dorado, got 1 hit, penetrate, invulnerable was failed, and with a roll of a 6, detonated the Dorado, exploding it. Will this shooting phase ever end? The 2 Rapier laser destroyers opened up on the Iron Warriors Leviathan Dreadnought. It did move, so they were snap shooting, but got 1 hit, which was great, and managed to cause a glancing hit on that Dorado. It failed its invulnerable save. It is down to 3 hull points. The Vorax that have scrambled atop the container mountain there fired 24 biocorrosive rounds into the Iron Warriors Havocs, getting 18 hits and 12 wounds. The lightning guns then fired in, got 2 hits and 2 wounds, and that was enough to kill 5 of those Iron Warriors Havocs armed with las cannons. That was brilliant. That is the end for the Iron Hands of turn 2. An amazing display of shooting there. I think we've done a lot of damage to the Iron Warriors. I'm not sure how they're going to come back, but we will find out. The final act was to roll Blessed Auto Simulacra on that Spartan, and it has regained its hull point due to being immobilised. It was a shame it can't repair itself for the immobilisation, but hey, I'll take that.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 3, and it would be fair to say that the 4th Legion are reeling from the Iron Hand second turn, but they are trying to fight back as best they can. Over on this flank, the 2 new tactical squads have arrived from reserve, even though the Iron Warriors tried to use the Explorator Augury Web to keep them in reserve. They don't have much to do, but at least it's making the Iron Warriors line look a bit more robust. The Seekers have held position. They're preparing some Scorpius bolts for the Vorax, and so have the Iron Havocs. They are getting their las cannons ready to fire in reprisal against the Battle Automata, along with the Leviathan, which has come striding forward, finally bringing some of its deadly weaponry into range. In the centre, the Tyrants and the Master of Signal have held position. They have line of sight to some Predators, and so do the Rapier quad launchers. Meanwhile, right over on the far flank, the tactical squad that came on from reserve last turn, they are going to try and do their best. They all have crack grenades. They're going to try to charge in and try to stop this wall of Iron Hands armour, which is advancing. And finally, the Xiphon Interceptor is going to try to do to the Iron Hands Storm Eagle exactly what the Iron Hands did to the Iron Warriors Storm Eagle last turn and shoot it from the sky. That was a painful loss. The Terminators and the Warsmith, not to mention the Storm Eagle itself. The Iron Warriors are going to have to work very hard to claw this one back. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 3, and the Land Raider Proteus opened fire with its twin-link las cannon, managing to get 2 wounds on the Vorax. One was saved by a cover save for intervening models, but 1 wound has gone through onto the Vorax. The Iron Warrior Seekers open fire with a volley of Scorpius bolts, managing all 5 hits, but no wounds on the first roll. Thankfully, Scorpius bolts have shred and managed to inflict 2 wounds, which did fell the already wounded Vorax. The Leviathan Siege Dreadnought opened fire with its Phosphex Discharger, its Grav Flux Bombard, its Storm Cannon and both of its Volkite Calivers into the Vorax, and in a mighty display of firepower took down all 3 of the remaining Vorax, leaving the Privian standing alone. Coming in low over the rocks, the Iron Warriors Xiphon Pattern Interceptor has achieved an excellent result for the Iron Warriors. It managed 2 hits with its las cannon on the Iron Hands Storm Eagle, which translated to 1 glancing hit, but it was the rotary rocket launcher that got the job done, managing a single penetrating hit. The Iron Hands flyer failed its jinx save, and because of the rules of the rotary rocket launcher, that was D3 rolls on the damage table. 1 came up as a 6, and that blew the Iron Hands flyer out of the air. It crashed amongst the crates behind the large rocky outcrop. And more good news for the Iron Warriors, it has taken out all but 2 of the tactical squad. But the Forge Lord managed to make his invulnerable save. Still, that is a lot of Iron Hands casualties inflicted, and it's some payback for the loss of the Iron Warriors' own Storm Eagle and their Warsmith last turn. The 3 Iron Havocs that could see past the crates and past the rocky outcrop targeted the Iron Hands Rapier Laser Destroyers. They managed to get 3 hits and 2 wounds, which took out another artillery carriage. The 2 Iron Warriors quad launchers open fire on the Predator squadron. The Iron Warriors really need to stop this squadron from just sweeping round their flank and then rampaging along their lines. They managed to get 4 hits, 2 of which glanced and 2 of which penned. Unfortunately, cover saved the 2 pens. It's just 2 glancing hits inflicted on the Predators. The 2 remaining Tyrant Siege Terminators once again made use of the Master of Signals Cognis Signum. They fired their missiles into the side of the already damaged Predator. They only managed 2 hits despite needing 2s and only 1 glance. Fortunately, the cover save was failed and 1 of the Iron Hands tanks has been destroyed. That brings the shooting phase to a close. We do have 1 assault as these brave Iron Warriors Tactical Marines try to charge into the Predators on this flank to take them out with some crack grenades. Iron Warriors Assault phase turn 3, and these Tactical Marines needed a 9 to make their charge into the lead Predator. Unfortunately, they rolled a 3. That is a failure, and it brings Iron Warriors turn 3 to a close. That has been very good compared to turn 2, taking out the Storm Eagle and most of the squad contained therein. Unfortunately, it has left the Iron Hands Forge Lord and his 2 remaining Tactical Marines right in the centre of the battlefield, threatening the Tyrant Siege Terminators. They are going to have to brace and see what happens in the Iron Hands next turn.
Iron Hands movement phase turn 3, and it seems that both the Iron Hands and the Iron Warriors are still firmly in their deployment zones due to all of our transports being shot out the sky or immobilised. But nevertheless, the Praevian cannot do a lot with the Iron Warriors in front of him, so he's skulking behind those containers. The Rapier Laser Destroyer has stationary, hoping to one-shot Leviathan as it did the previous one. The Spartan, which I completely forgot, Autek Moore is inside, and he could have repaired the immobilised result. So I did think about getting them out, but they will make no impact on the game. They will never get further into the Iron Warriors line. So we're going to try and repair the Spartan if we can. Both of the Predators and the Sicarian Venator have pushed forward as far as they can. We need to try and pincer the Iron Warriors now. The Magna Melters will hopefully take care of this tactical squad of the Iron Warriors, and that'll leave us then to come round the flank. Need to try and get rid of those quad mortars, as they will give the Predators a hard time. So the Spartan and the Venator will try and target them. That pesky Xiphon taking out the Iron Hand Storm Eagle was such a pain, virtually annihilating that tactical unit. But because the Storm Eagle is an assault unit, this unit here can charge the Terminators in front of it. So that is their plan. There's a lot of ifs and buts, but fingers crossed we'll do some damage. Iron Hands, turn 3 shooting. The Forge Lord and his 2 Tactical Marines fired 2 bolt pistol and 2 Volkite charger rounds into the Iron Warriors HQ in front of them. All hits, all wounds, but could not get through the armour save of that Master of Signals. Then the Venator and the Spartan fired everything they've got at the rapier platforms in front of them. Managed to take the crew from the front of the platforms and put a wound on one of them. It would have been nice to have stripped one out, but we tried our best. The Iron Hands Predator Strike Squadron fired their 2 Magna Melters and 4 las cannons into the Iron Warrior tactical units in front of them. One of the Magna Melters completely scattered, but one hit, and then combined with the las cannons, managed to wipe the squad out, bar 1 tactical marine. That was a bit of a shame, but still pleased to have taken all of those Tac Marines out. Also, deep within the bowels of the Spartan, Ortec Moore tried to repair the immobilized result on that Spartan. He needed a 4, but unfortunately rolled a 2. The Rapier Laser Destroyer from the Iron Hands targeted the Leviathan, hitting it, hoping it to one-shot it as it did its brother, but unfortunately failed as the invulnerable save held strong and the Iron Warriors Leviathan is unscathed. The Forge Lords and his 2 Tactical Marines have charged over the top of those containers into the Terminators and the Master of Signals. Successful charge, which was great. The Master of Signals did try to throw a crack grenade into the squad, but missed. And striking at Initiative 4 will be the 2 Tactical Marines. At Initiative 4, the Tactical Marines struck in with 4 attacks, 2 hits, and 2 wounds. The Master of Signals decided to tank it on his power armor save. Made 1, failed 1, he is reduced to 1 wound. At Initiative 1, the Iron Hands Forge Lord struck in with 4 attacks from his power axe, only got 1 hit, and then rolled a 1 to wound, so nothing from him. That is a real shame. Also striking at Initiative 1, the Iron Warriors Master of Signals went in with 4 attacks from his power axe, hit 3 times, and that managed to kill the 2 Tactical Marines. And then the Forge Lord failed his invulnerable save of 3 up and put a wound on him. That is really bad. Now we've got the, it's really great for the Iron Warriors, but bad for the Iron Hands. Now we've got the Siege Tyrant Terminators going in with their Power Fists. Also striking Initiative 1, the Siege Tyrant Terminators went in with 4 attacks from their Power Fists, got 2 hits, 2 wounds, but the Forge Lord made both of his 3 up invulnerable saves, which was absolutely amazing. Despite losing combat, he did pass his leadership test and is ready to fight another day. End of turn 3 for the Iron Hands. Not a bad turn. The only issue is the punch from the Iron Hands is on the left-hand side here, struggling to take out 1 Tactical Marine, and the rest of the Iron Warriors is on the opposite side. That immobilized Spartan is causing the Iron Hands some massive headaches. We need to get Ortec Moore and his Terminators into combat, hopefully at the end of turn 5, turn 6, but we need to repair that immobilized result. It's really hard to judge who will take the win.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 4 and the lone Tactical Marine over on this flank. He has decided to try and attack the Iron Hands. He's still got a crack grenade. Unfortunately, he is worth 2 points due to blood feud, but he's not going to get away from the Predators realistically, so he may as well try to take them out. Meanwhile, the 2 quad launchers, they have stayed stationary. They are preparing to give fire, probably against the Sakaran Venator. They're hoping for a bit of luck. The Tyrant Siege Terminators and the Master's Signal remain locked in assault. And over on the right flank, where the bulk of the Iron Warriors forces are, there's been a bit more movement. These 2 tactical squads right in this corner, they don't really have any targets. They're just trying to stay alive. Meanwhile, the Proteus has pulled across in front of them, trying to get a line of sight to give fire on the Rapiers. And so have 2 of the Iron Havocs. They've moved across the top of the bunker. They'll be snap shooting, but at least they now have a line of sight. Meanwhile, over on the far flank, the Seekers, they are in cover. They don't really have any targets either. The Leviathan is striding across the landing pad, trying to bring its weaponry into range. Meanwhile, the Xiphon is trying to perform a strafing run on the Iron Hands Privian, still taking cover in the crates, hopefully taking him out and earning another point. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 4, and the face has opened well for the Sons of Olympia as their Xiphon pattern interceptor managed a hit with one of its twin-link las cannons on the Privian. The Iron Hand went to ground, but he still failed his cover save with a roll of a 1, instant killing him. That's a point for the Iron Warriors. The phase continues well for the Iron Warriors as the 2 quad launchers managed to get 6 hits on the front of the Iron Hand, Sakaar and Venator. They managed 2 glances and a pen thanks to Sunder. It was enough. They have wrecked the Iron Hand's tank. The Seekers managed to run back 3 inches. Meanwhile, on top of the bunker, the 2 snap shooting Iron Havocs managed to miss, but the 3 on the landing pad itself managed 3 hits and 2 wounds, which took out the final Rapier laser destroyer carriage, and behind them the Proteus opened fire with its twin-link las cannon, felling one of the crew. Meanwhile, in the centre, the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought has also run 3 inches. Iron Warriors assault phase turn 4, and the lone tactical marine has made his charge into the Predators. He managed to hit and penetrate with his crack grenade, unfortunately only getting a shaken result, but still at least it's some damage to the Predators. Now we move on to the combat between the Tyrant Siege Terminators, the Master of Signal and the Iron Hands Forge Lord. The Master of Signal at Initiative 1 stepped forward with his power axe, delivering 2 wounding hits to the Iron Hands Forge Lord, but he made both of his invulnerable saves. And continuing at Initiative 1, the 2 Tyrant Siege Terminators managed to miss with all 4 of their Power Fist attacks. Now it is the Iron Hands' turn to strike back. The Iron Hands Forge Lord swung in with his power axe, managed to get 2 wounding hits, which felled one of the Tyrants. He also hit with his servo arm and wounded, but the Tyrant's cataphractii armour saved him. That meant that he won the combat by 1, but the Iron Warriors passed their leadership check with a roll of a 7. The combat is ongoing.
Iron Hands turn 4 movement. Bit of a tricky movement phase, really. The 2 Predators here have moved back ever so slightly to try and kill that lone tactical marine. It is overkill, but it's worth 2 points. The Rapier crew behind have moved up. The Spartan is immobilised, so we need Autek Moore to do his magic and repair that Spartan, just so we can get further into the Iron Warriors lines if possible. The other Rapier crew that have lost their Rapier platforms have moved over because there's a massive Leviathan staring them down. So they will run in the movement in the shooting phase to try and get out of line of sight. The only thing left to do then is the combat between the Forge Lord, the Terminator, and the Master of Signals from the Iron Warriors. Other than that, we can't get any firepower into this corner. We're trying to take out some infantry and not being very successful. But let's see what we got. Iron Hands shooting phase turn 4. The Rapier crew passed their leadership test, which allowed them to run. They did only run 2 inches, but they are smack bang in the middle of that opening for the Iron Warriors to shoot their last cannons of them. So I assume that they will die next turn, giving the Iron Warriors some points. Bit of a shame. Autek Moore failed to repair the immobilised result on that Spartan. That is a huge shame. But the 2 quad las cannons managed to kill one of the Rapiers, reducing the firepower coming in back at the Iron Hands. The final act in the shooting phase was to fire 4 las cannons from the Predators into the Iron Warriors tactical marine in front of it, obliterating it, freeing up this chokehold that the Iron Warriors created. Now we go on to combat, and hopefully we can take down that Terminator and the HQ of the Iron Warriors. Iron Hands turn 4 assault phase. The Forge Lord stood up with his power axe, got 1 hit and 1 wound, and managed to kill that Siege Tyrant Terminator. He will get to attack back with his power fist before he falls. The servo arm then went in and failed to hit. The combat ended with the Terminator missing all of his attacks into the Forge Lord, but the Master of Signals got 4 hits and 4 wounds. The Iron Hands HQ managed to save 3 of them, but the final wound went through and killed him. The Master of Signals then consolidated 5 inches, tucked safely behind that container. At the moment, the Iron Hands don't have anything to take him out, so some great point saving there from James. The Iron Hands has had a reasonable turn, but being stuck over on the left-hand side flank here with no means of escape out of that little bottleneck is a very big concern.
Iron Warriors movement phase, turn 5, and the rapier stuck out on its own, has held position. It's just going to try to give fire against anything it can see that it can hurt, which doesn't look to be much at the moment. Meanwhile, the Master of Signal has ducked even further into cover behind these crates. He's been joined by the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought, who at the moment is just going to be standing sentinel in case the Iron Hands advance around either side of the giant central rocky outcrop. The Proteus and the Iron Havocs have stayed stationary. They are looking forward to gunning down these last 3 Iron Hands rapier crew and getting some points. And meanwhile, over on the far flank, the Seekers and the 2 tactical squads have advanced. They are trying to keep some distance between themselves and the Iron Hands. Iron Warrior shooting phase, turn 5, and realising that his shatter shells cannot hurt the front of the Spartan, the rapier crewman decided to launch a barrage of frag shells over the top, managing to get 7 hits and 2 wounds on these rapier crewmen, but unfortunately the Iron Hands made both of their saves. In the final act of the Iron Warriors' 5th turn, the Iron Havocs raised their las cannons at the 3 unfortunate Iron Hands rapier crew failed to run far enough to get out of line of sight. They got 4 hits, easily cutting down the 3 remaining Iron Hands, but robbing the Proteus of any targets. The rest of the Iron Warriors are just holding position. The Iron Hands are in a pocket right up the far end of the table. So this is turning into a very cagey engagement.
Iron Hands turn 5 movement. As James said in the previous turn, it's now turning into a very cagey engagement. The 2 Predators remainder in that squadron have moved around the big rock, and they are going to target that rapier platform and its crew member to try and score some victory points. The rest of the rapier crew members on this side have spread out and moved along. The remainder of this large tactical unit with the apothecary has just spread out as well, anticipating some shatter shells coming in if we can't, frag shells if we can't destroy the rapier. And Alltech Moore will once again try and repair his Spartan vehicle. To be honest now, even if he does, it's probably a little too late. Iron Hands turn 5 shooting, and a very, very quick shooting round. Alltech Moore has finally managed to repair the immobilised Spartan, which is great news, but as I said in the movement phase, it's probably a little bit too late, unfortunately. The quad las cannons and the heavy bolter, combined with the 2 las cannons from the Predator Strike Squadron there, managed to destroy the rapier, but left 1 crew member alive. Obviously, no leadership test or morale check for this model because these are Iron Warriors. And that is all of the targets the Iron Hands have on the Iron Warriors.
Iron Warriors movement phase, turn 6, and it's all about the Land Raider Proteus and the Xiphon Pattern Interceptor, which has returned from reserve. The Xiphon is preparing to do a strafing run on the remaining Iron Hands rapier crew. It has an outside chance at taking them all out. Not a very good one, but it's going to do its best. Meanwhile, the Proteus has moved up 12 inches. It has brought its las cannons into range of the Iron Hands Predators. The rest of the Iron Warriors, they are digging in, holding position. The Master Signal in the centre has moved between the crates. He does not want to be targeted. And the last rapier crewman is dashing desperately to join him, but he is a long way short at the minute. Iron Warrior shooting phase, turn 6. Unfortunately, the last remaining rapier crewman only managed a 1-inch run. He's hoping that this rock can provide him with some cover. We will see. Meanwhile, over his head, past the shots from the Land Raider Proteus, it missed with its snap shooting sponson, but managed 1 penetrating hit with its 1 firing at full ballistic skill on the side armour of the Predator. Unfortunately, it's only another shaken result. That Predator still has 1 hull point remaining. The Iron Warriors' Xiphon Pattern Interceptor has once again put in an impressive performance. There were 4 Iron Hands rapier crewmen who went to ground, but it took 2 out with its twin-link las cannons and another 2 with its Xiphon rotary launcher. That is an excellent result. All the points are critical at this stage of the battle. That is the end of Iron Warriors turn 6, and we have no idea how the points are standing up at the minute. We're very much looking forward to finding out.
Iron Hands' 6th and final turn. The Predator Strike Squadron has moved forward in a bid to bring its entire firepower to bear on that lone tactical marine. If I can take that out, the rapier crew member, if I can take him out, that will score the Iron Hands 2 victory points. In a desperate bid to gain some extra victory points, the Spartan has reversed up, despite being immobilised for most of the game on that barrier there, and will try and snap shoot that Xiphon Interceptor out of the sky. That'll be some sweet victory if that's possible. Other than that, the Iron Hands have no more targets onto the Iron Warriors. It all comes down to the Predators and the Spartan. Iron Hands shooting phase, turn 6, and there was only 2 units to shoot. The Predator Strike Squadron fired everything they had, the 2 Magnum Melters, into this lone Rapier crew member and obliterated him despite going to ground. Great point score there for the Iron Hands. And the Spartan fired upwards with its 2 quad las cannons and its twin link heavy bolter into the Xiphon, which jinked, got 2 penetrating hits on it, but James made his amazing 3-up cover saves, jink saves. That is the end of the game. As James mentioned, it was extremely cagey, and now we're going to tot up the victory points. I have a feeling it's going to be very, very close. Well, that was game 3. Iron Hands, Iron Warriors. And James, I think it's fair to say that was one hell of a close game.
Oh, yeah, best one yet. I really, really enjoyed that one.
I mean, the results in this game absolutely reflect. I think the key word we had from there was cagey, weren't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, we didn't venture much out of our deployment zone, really, just trying to keep those troops alive. Ortec Moore was just stuck. Complete waste of points.
Yeah, that really helped me out. Can't underestimate how lucky that was that he couldn't repair the immobilised result, keeping him away. That would have made a big difference.
Yeah, but I was anticipating the Storm Eagle can come down and disgorge its troops, and then Ortec Moore was going to counter-charge, but obviously didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, well, we learned something from this game. Storm Eagles are not a safe form of transportation.
Holy hell. I mean, generally, they are pretty good, but the odd couple of hits here and there, and it's devastating, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. 2 one-shotted in 2 shooting phases. Amazing. And the damage that did to both our armies was, well, huge.
Yeah, I think it blunted the attack of each army, I think. Yeah, definitely. But let's get on to the scores. It is extremely close. We'll do the Iron Warriors first. So death toll, 8 units destroyed of the Iron Hands, 4 blood feud targets, and then there was the last man standing, taking the Iron Warriors to 13. But edging it by 1 point was the Iron Hands. They got 8 for their death toll, 4 for blood feud. So amazingly, the same as each other.
Yeah.
1 for killing the Warlord, 1 for the Warsmith. That's
the
clincher.
That extra point. Oh, it's painful.
Yes. And no last man standing, of course, which took the Iron Hands to 14. So the final scores, 13 Iron Warriors, 14 to the Iron Hands. And I believe, James, that is a draw at the moment for both of us, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And the games have been so close. The first one, the Iron Warriors only took by a single point, then a draw, and then the Iron Hands. We're going to have some sort of reckoning between these two. We've got to break this deadlock.
Yeah, we've talked about this because James has got some allied Mechanicum units with the chevrons, which will match beautifully with the Iron Warriors. And I've obviously got my Mechanicum. So I think we'll have a massive game.
Yeah, both sides can call in support from the Mechanicum and settle it once and for all.
Yeah, big ball buster of a game. I think we'll get the 8x6 out for this one again, and we'll have a massive throwdown. So that'll be quite a good game.
Love it.
We've both brought back a flyer to talk about. James, let's start with your Xiphon, shall we?
It was just excellent. Yeah, I very rarely use it because I think maybe the Primaris Lightning does more damage consistently. But this game, it just everything it shot at, it took out, including a fresh Storm Eagle in one volley. The Xiphon rotary launcher, a bit of luck, but that really did, because once the Iron Warriors Storm Eagle went down with the Warsmith, I thought we're going to be up against it here, but that really saved the Iron Warriors bacon there. And just gunning down Rapier crewmen, really good. So very, very pleased with the way it performed.
It was really good. And I've obviously brought back the Storm Eagle because of the work it did on the Iron Warrior Storm Eagle by blowing out the Cat Factory and the Ford, it wasn't Ford Lord.
Warsmith.
Thank you. Out of the sky, which deposited them right in front of the firepower of the Iron Hands. So really great work. You know, I've seen a lot of Storm Eagles on the channel, and they always get. They always do average, really. They're obviously not chosen as much as the Fire Raptor because that is the be all and end all of flyers, I think. But in this case, this performed so well.
Yeah, it's great. It's got a lot of firepower and the transport capacity, and it's an assault vehicle and a
Yeah.
flyer. I really like them. I use them quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I did use the transport ability, the assault ability with the units inside. You know, there was only 2 tactical marines and a Forge Lord left, and after it crash landed, they weren't pinned, and they charged into the Iron Warriors. Obviously, they didn't do very well, but it still allowed them to get out of that wreckage and charge in due to the assault roll, which really helped them out. Because if not, they just would have been blasted to death.
Yeah, that's it. And that was an exciting combat, I thought, the Forge Lord versus Master of Signal. I'm surprised the Master of Signal walked away from it, but...
you did say at the beginning that the Iron Hands should have got that combat, but just poor dice rolling, and you made some amazing saves.
Yeah.
And you just got it in the end. So
That's it.
Congratulations to that. I thought it was a really thrilling game. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about the game. After discussing what we're going to do next, I'm really excited for that. I'm not usually in for big games, but some Mechanicum allies with the Iron Hands, along with Mechanicum allies to the Iron Warriors.
Yep.
I think that'll be quite fun, quite exciting. But yeah, it'll be really good. I've taken a ton of photos from this game, so if you want to see more, please go to the Facebook page and have a look at those photos. Yeah, I think it was really good fun.
Really, our best game of the little narrative series so far, I think, right? And yeah, so close, amazing, 4,000 point game, big game to end close. Yeah.
And also as well, it's worth noting that James and I finished this game in 4 hours?
Yeah, we get through it. We're getting good at it.
Started at 9, finished at just after 1 o'clock. So yeah, it's really good. When you come on the channel, there's a lot to do, and if you've not done a game on the channel before, it usually takes 8 to 10 hours to film a game. But with practice, you can really get those times down like James and I have and bang one out in 4 hours, which is pretty good, I think.
That's it for a 4,000 point game. It's great, I think.
Yeah.
And especially an exciting close one as well.
It was super close, 1 point in it, so great result. I hope you've enjoyed it. James, thank you so much for the game.
Thank you, mate.
Really enjoyed it. And James and I will see you in the next one.